That's a hoe-ass move. Or, that's a hoe-ass move. It's the same words, but it's very different. You guys know where this is coming from. Derrick Lewis, in his post-fight speech, when asked about Teixeira grabbing the fence, referred to it as a hoe-ass move. He made poetry out of it, guys. There was something about the way Derrick said it. And by the way, it's not his first time. You have a guy who was nicknamed the Black Beast, who did his debt to society the hard way, who was a highly ranked main event cage fighter. Okay. Anything that guy says is going to be intimidating. Can we agree? Did I mention we call him the Black Beast? Did I say that part of it? Add that to the list. Anything that we say about him is going to be intimidating. Can we agree? Because I would put Derrick a top 3 interview in our sport. I believe Money Moicano, Patty the Batty, Derrick Lewis are the top 3 interviews in our sport right now. It's very rare that I, or even you, I would suspect, would be in a living room, you're watching the fight with some people, and when the fight's over, in the midst of that celebration or high fives or looking for your keys in your wallet to leave, that everybody shushes, want to shush because he's about to speak. I mean, that's only happened a few times in history. I remember the first time it happened, it was Rampage Jackson. Rampage is one of the most underrated interviews. I used to always get asked all the time, who's better between me and McGregor? I would get asked that question a lot, and I always think you're leaving someone out. You're leaving out Rampage. Rampage, one of the originals. In fact, the way I see it, Tank Abbott the first, Rampage was the second. And Rampage was the first of the era, of the Dana era. That's how I see it. Food for thought. But I heard Derrick Lewis pick a fight with Daniel Cormier one time. Daniel Cormier. That went down in a sold-out Madison Square Garden for the World Championship, both sides, with 7 figures. And Derrick was asked, what's your problem with Daniel? And Derrick said, he insulted Popeye's chicken. In fact, he added a word to it. You want the exact quote from all these years ago? I remember it perfectly. Derrick said, he insulted that Popeye's chicken. The insertion of the word that, it does change the statement. And you'll remember that this was hot news because was it Dan Henderson had sent Daniel Cormier Popeye's chicken before, I think it was before the weigh-in. It was as a marketing ploy, but then there was some parts of the media that grabbed a hold of it and they tried to smear Dan's face in it because Daniel was black. Like they tried this whole tie-in to where it turned into this nasty thing, so everybody stayed away from it. Nobody wanted to touch Popeyes, nobody wanted to touch chicken, nobody wanted to touch Daniel. Derrick Lewis brought it right up like it was nothing, but he did it calmly. He insulted that Popeye's chicken. That's what he said. Close to that tone. That was my best. They sold out Madison Square Garden. I swear to goodness to you, all these years later, I couldn't tell you one thing that Daniel said leading into that fight. I could not tell you one thing that Derrick said. I can't remember the rankings and the time and who beat who to even lead us to that moment. But I remember that. And you now have Derrick Lewis, because I want to know what you think of his post-fight antics. Like, there's a risk on that. There's a risk of looking unsportsmanlike. But what a treat as the audience when you get this show after the show. So Derrick does something, and this is called something. This is called like the walrus, or he does something where it's a humping of the mat motion, but that's not what he's doing. He's doing like it's some kind of Johnny Walker, the worm. He does something along those lines. Then, of course, was the very famous night when Derrick removed his shorts. After the fight and prior to his interview, he removed his shorts. Now, one of the genius of Joe Rogan is that Joe asked him about it. Why did you do that? I don't know if any other announcer would think that. Joe, it was actually a great moment, which you can't have without Rogan teeing up and saying, why did you remove your shorts? To which Derrick responded, my balls was hot. But he said it like that. Now my balls were hot. Because my balls are, you could make that gross, you could make that dirty, you could make that aggressive. He made it very matter of fact. He said the words, because my balls was hot, in the same tone as he responded to every other question Joe asked him. It changes the bit. From a performance standpoint, right, as a performer, as an entertainer, which is the whole reason you give him the mic in the first place, it changes it. And I want to know what you think about it. So he does the worm. He does what I'm going to call the worm. The shorts are already off. Now, Derrick added, okay, if you have another time he did this, at least for me, I've never seen him do this before. He went over to the opposing corner and he lifted his leg like a dog and he imaginary peed on him. I interpret that to mean marking my territory. I own this, I own you, I marked my territory. That's my interpretation. I'm pretty sure that I'm right. And then he returns to the middle, and I thought maybe we'd have a little bit of talk on Aspinall. I thought maybe Derrick would just do just a little bit to kind of sell that moment. Because it is very real, make no mistake, that Derrick Lewis can do what he did to Teixeira to anybody. And so now you got this incredible visual. But he then said about his opponent that was a hoe-ass move, and I'm just wondering what you think of it, because I thought he made it work. I thought that Derrick did some very nasty things that in any other walk of life, there are certain sports you would be banned. You would at a minimum face suspensions. You cannot go over and mimic that you're pissing on your opponent's corner. You can't do it. Now, a number of sports, you'd be fined and pulled. I don't know that I can think of a sport off the top of my head, professional, amateur, Olympic, NCAA, any way that you want to do it, that you could remove your pants and not face a consequence. But Derrick pulls off some of the craziest stuff in a G-rated manner. He dropped his pants, he make-believe pissed on a corner, he called the guy a hoe and a bitch, all in the same sentence. And he did it in a very family-oriented way.